This right here is the diagram of the heart. And if you look at it today, I'll be talking about how blood flows through the heart. We already know what the heart is, a muscular organ which is located in the middle mediastinum of the chest in the left part, right? That's what the heart is, and that's the location of the heart. Now, the heart has four chambers, as we know, the right and left atrium, and then have two ventricles, the right and left ventricle. But now, what we should look at is the arrows here. This arrow shows the blood flow through the heart. Now, the oxygenated blood had to enter the right atrium first, and if you look at it, it enters through two major big blood vessels, and these include here at the superior vena cava, bringing blood from the head and neck and upper limbs, and then we'll have the inferior vena cava where blood is coming from the abdomen, right? So all this blood that is being drained from these places, all of them empties directly into the right atrium. Now from the right atrium, the blood flows into the right ventricle, and this here are the two valves. This is called the tricuspid valve, which regulates blood flow from the right atrium into the ventricle. So it opens and blood flows into the right ventricle. Now from the right ventricle, the blood have to go for oxygenation, and so that passes through the pulmonary trunk. The pulmonary trunk divides into the pulmonary arteries, which take blood out of the heart to the lungs. Now from here, the blood goes away to the lungs where it is oxygenated, and this is the pulmonary circulation. Now, after oxygenation, the blood has to come back to the heart. Now, the blood does that through what we call the pulmonary veins, which bring blood back to the heart. And now, blood enters the left atrium through the pulmonary veins. And then this here is another group of valve we call the bicuspid valve or mitral valve. This valve regulates the blood flow from the left atrium into the left ventricle. And now look at this arrow. When this particular valve opens, blood flows from the left atrium into the left ventricle. And when the left ventricle contracts, the blood flows out into the aorta. Now from the aorta, blood circulates into the head and neck and down to other parts of the body, and this is the systemic blood flow. So if you look at it, there are two sides of the heart, the right side and the left side. Now the right side deals with the oxygenated blood, and then uh, blood from there has to go to the lungs where we talk about the pulmonary circulation. The left side deals with oxygenated blood, and blood from here goes down into the system, and that's why we call it the systemic blood flow. Now take note, there are two groups of valves we find in the heart, and these are the AV valves and the semilunar valve. Now the AV valves include the tricuspid valve located on the right side and the bicuspid valve located on the left side. The semilunar valve include the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. All this regulates blood flow in the heart. And then with pathologies that are affecting all this particular thing we've talked about here, that would cause some problems, and the pathologies that we'll be talking about subsequently in the heart. Okay, this marks the end of blood flow in the heart. Thank you.